Burn bang, recipe slanging, mukbanging it out. Not a pro or a hoe. We gonna be banging it out in this episode. Chisel and nizzle. Wigtastic, it's magic. Spilling the tea on some of them episodes. It's your boy, Vern Bang. And that's why cooking from my soul is the way I go on this multiple mukbang channel. We'll be back for more episodes. Lord, thank you for this food. Thank you for everything you do in our life, Lord. Thank you for everything you give us. Lord, just continue to bless everybody out there in YouTube land and our friends, our family. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So let's get to the food. All right, y'all. Hey, y'all. This is Vern Bang. So we're back with a recipe video. So instead of buying and paying the expensive price of which I usually don't do sushi rolls, I like raw fish. We're doing salmon and tuna today. So anyways, I do more sashimi style, and you know, I do my one with the house because you can buy this. It was on sale for $15.82, normally $20.54, and prepare it out, and you know, it will last you for days. You have sushi, and you'll probably pay the same price and get a little bitty platter somewhere at a fancy place. So anyways, so basically I'm going to show you how to prepare it. So I'm going to kind of angle the camera down because I really don't care if you can see me at this point. I just want you to see what I'm doing. So anyways, and you can also get this done if you get it where there's a fishmonger behind the counter. You can get them to take the skin off, and then you can cut it up yourself the way you want to. And so right now I just got, and fish is very it's wet, it's very slick, so I got some plastic covering this board that I'm showing you on, and if you use a cutting board, just make sure you put wet paper towels underneath it because it's willing to slide. And I had a very sharp knife. It's good to use these knives that are coated because it's good made for fish. But anyway, so we're going to start. We're going to remove the skin first, and basically I try to start whichever end. I try to start with the small tail end first, and I kind of, as you can see, I kind of will stick my knife right here and start removing start slipping it back and forward. That way you start revealing the underneath, and you ain't gonna get it perfect, but if you're used to cutting fish, then you'll get pretty close. And that's kind of how I just start it all the way across, and it helps putting this in the freezer and getting it nice and cold. So yeah, so just gonna keep doing that, and then once which I've done this quite a few times, so I'm pretty confident. This side. And you're not going to ever get it perfect, so just as best as you can get without wasting too much of the flesh. Because some of it does need to be trimmed up quite a bit, because you don't want any of the fat and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty much I'll get it separated like this, And then once you got to separate it and something to hold on to, then I'll pretty much put my knife here. And since this is firm, but it helps if you hold on to the skin in the back as you're doing it. That way you stay right along the skin. And then you want to check to make sure that you're right along the skin. And you just want to let the knife cut, because this is a very sharp knife. If you're forcing it, that's when you probably will make some mistakes. But like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, and you just want to take your time. And like I said, it helps when you hold that in. So all I'm doing is just holding the end, making sure that the skin is firm, and then you can kind of check to make sure you're not getting too much. And sometimes I'll flip it. If I think it's getting off kiltered a little bit, I'll flip it. And anyways, I'll flip it over and kind of slowly go from this side, correct any mistakes that you think you're making, and then kind of go back. Yeah, but this is a very nice piece of salmon. And then kind of, so if you can kind of see how I got it, it's starting to go off kilter a little bit, and you can tell, see, so I went back and kind of, see, fixed it before I lost anything. And so we're gonna flip it back around, go on this side, and just kind of easily do it this way, because the front part, it's got a lot of meat, good meat, that you want to not waste it all. So anyways, I'll just take my time at this point, and I'm putting pressure on the fish, and I'm just slowly going through the skin, and then I'll flip it back this way. And that's why I do this on plastic, because it's kind of messy. And what I do, once I trim this up and get the skin off, I'm going to trim everything up. So basically, I got the skin without taking too much off. So this, I mean, some people save it, fry it this way. I just dispose of it because I'm interested in this, because we're doing, you know, sashimi grade salmon. And so basically that's the underneath skin. So like all this dark piece, this fatty stuff, you want to trim that up and get all that off. And then basically the video may cut off, I don't know, but I'm going to keep it running. So I'm going to trim this up, and then I'm going to put it in a bowl, and I'm going to take it and wash it. Then we're going to pat it dry with paper towels, and then I'll be back to show you how to slice it up. And then I'll show you this pretty end. That's the end. Maybe we're going to start here and slicing it thin at an angle to get them nice sashimi pieces. And pretty much I'll cut this whole thing up. It's partially frozen into slices, and then I'll layer it with plastic, and then put it in a container and put it in the freezer. And then like I'll take 1 or 2 sheets of the plastic that's lined with like 1 layer out of the freezer, and thaw it out, and then you have your sushi. So anyways, that's just how I do it. And you can keep doing it how you're doing, but for people that want to save a little bit of money, this is how you do it. But yeah, this for just discarding. We just want to keep that bright, beautiful meat. Trying to get some of this fat off. And anyways, so I'm going to sit here and trim this up. If we get cut off, then, you know, we'll be back with the other part of the video. And yeah, but it makes it easier when you put it forever to get it this firm in the freezer. That's a trick that I use. That way, it helps you. But yeah, just, and like I said, you can do it on a cutting board. Just make sure you put a wet towel or paper towels, because fish is slick and you don't want it to slide, especially when you got a sharp knife in your hand. So, but me and my mom enjoy the sashimi, and this is just a cheap way for us to enjoy it and still have money in our pockets and, you know, enjoy it for quite a few days, not just one time for that price. So, anyways, just keep trimming, and I'm just doing very thin trims. Kind of go out here in an angle, and we're going to take this whole. I know some people cut it in half, which you could. Some people will. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and do it that way because it will be a little easier. But yeah, you can cut it in half to make it a little sizable. Might as well show you how to do it. And look at that pretty flush. But yeah, so once you cut it in half, this piece is what I consider clean. So we're gonna, and then this piece here, you still see it's got some gray, so we're just gonna take the knife and kind of at an angle, we're just gonna cut the whole thing out. So yeah, cut that whole line out. I love salmon, love the ahi tuna. We got some ahi tuna that I'm going to do as well. Show you it's already ready to slice thin, so I just buy it that way. I already portion segments in the freezer section. Because you just lay a portion at a time as you need it. So anyways, this is all looking really good, and want to wash it, get that stickiness off of it because they're very, very oily. But anyways, you see, there may be a little bit left. It's not that big of a deal. You want to make sure that your pin bones are out of here. They should have done that for you already. But anyways, these are very pretty pieces. So we got two gorgeous pieces. So yeah, we'll be back. And this is Vern, and we'll be back with the other segment of how to cut the sushi, or sashimi. Already are. Peace. Be back. Alright y'all, this is Vern back. So, I know I'm kind of chopped off, but I want you to see what I'm doing right here on the cutting board. More importantly, so anyways, so yeah, I washed it off, and I got this nice little platter. But anyways, we got a cutting board. Now that we got it broken down, so I got everything washed off. I put it back in the freezer to let it sit up a little bit, and then you can use a paper towel, which we're doing, or you can use, and then we're going to take a little spray bottle, kind of wet this paper towel, because the idea is you don't want your cutting board to slide around. And then we're going to kind of lift up this cutting board, and we'll put it here, and then you can kind of see it doesn't slide that easy. And I'm probably going to put a little more water. So, that way it won't slide around that much and give us any issues. So yeah, so this is the ahi tuna. And so, I thaw it out slightly. That way it's easy to cut. And so, we're going to start with this one. Since it ain't going to take long to cut this one. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not super high quality, but it's sashimi grade, and I do like it. Very nice. and then I try to find the texture. And then, so we're going to cut it kind of, these smaller pieces I like cutting it at a bias, kind of at an angle. So I kind of cut it like this to get a thin piece. And the first piece will be kind of thick, but as you see, as you slice it, it'll get thinner. So I'm just gonna and you have to have a sharp knife. So, yeah. So we're just gonna layer it up there. Yeah, and sometimes if you don't like the way it's cutting or the cut, you can just really try another side. So we're gonna try this side and see if it looks a little better. And that it kind of does. So anyways, yeah, it's all trial and error, you know. But yeah, that looks a lot better. And the way they cut these is just so choppy, you know, you gotta find, you know, what you think looks good and cut it to the thickness that you like, you know. So we're getting some really nice pieces. And like I buy a whole pack of probably about 6 of these little things, and they're like between $8 and $12, so it just depends. Some places you can get a little cheaper, but it just depends on the kind of grade you're looking for, which really here in Texas they don't have that great of a sushi grade as far as supermarkets. And the ones that do have a really good grade, they're like, you won't be able to pay your rent that much if you got it, type thing. So, and this is good flavor. So basically, and I'll just show you what it looks like. You get a nice little fillet, you know, you get a nice little piece, and you know, enough to feed probably me and my mom this. And then we're going to do some salmon, which we really do love salmon. And so yeah. So yeah, look at that beautiful piece. So once you got all that extra fat off, got it nice and cleaned up, yeah, it's just super beautiful. And you see, oh yeah, super clean tasting, super yummy. So I'm going to see if I can kind of turn this way. Yeah, let's see. I just turn the whole board that way. So yeah, anyway, so you can cut it real thin or thick. Make sure you have a sharp knife. And so, you know, it depends on how you like your sashimi. You know, you like it super thin. I usually don't do it that thin. I do it a little thicker. But I try to... And each piece you cut is not going to be perfectly straight. It's not going to be perfect thickness. You know, you kind of have to kind of get a feel for it. So, and of course I'm kind of cutting blind, so I'm going to flip this around back to where I can see what I'm cutting, and then you can kind of, I'll show you a piece. But yeah. So yeah. So you get a nice, beautiful piece. And just layer it on the plate. I don't want it, some pieces I like thin, some pieces I like thick. It'll give you a nice contrast. But yeah. Some people like their sashimi a little thick, so just kind of depends on what you like. I've seen people will actually cut it like nice and thick like that. So it just kind of depends on what you like. And trust me, you're going to get a lot out of this, so you'll be enjoying it for days. And like I said, slice it all up. Take some parchment paper or plastic wrap, wrap a plate, layer one roll, put another piece of plastic wrap or parchment paper, and then keep layering it, and then put it in the freezer, and then you just take one layer at a time when you want some, and it doesn't take long to thaw out. And since this wasn't thawed out completely ever, it's okay to freeze it. Like people, like when you go get a 10-pound bag of chicken at the store, you know, it's thawed out, you're going to bag it all up and you're going to freeze it. Same difference. A lot of people freak out and don't think they can, stuff that's thawed out at the store, they don't think they can refreeze it. Yes, you can refreeze it one time, but they don't want you sitting there unfreezing it and then refreezing it, yada, yada, yada. So, but this is the way I make my sushi last, so... and like I said, it was like $22, $23 for that whole piece of salmon and the bag of ahi tuna that I got. So we're going to get a lot of sushi out of it. So I'm going to show you. I've never done this cut before, but I've seen a lot of Japanese shows here lately, so, and you see where you get that pretty line on the side, and a lot of times I cut it down in smaller pieces. So I'm going to do this, and then, so we'd normally cut it this way that we're doing last one. This one we're going to cut the opposite way, so you can kind of see, and you'll get a more uniform sushi as well. So it just really, really depends on, you know, how you like your sushi. But yeah, and it's so easy to do at home, and you could save so much money. And me and Mom love salmon. It's easy to get here. It's super fresh, especially Atlantic salmon. If you can afford the sockeye salmon. They also have a Norwegian salmon that's really good, but it's really, really expensive. So, just kind of get what you can afford, you know? And, so, and I'm just going to cut this up and show you the plate. And yes, there's a lot more salmon than there is the ahi tuna. But I like to just thaw one ahi tuna at a time and cut it, because I probably like it more than Mom does. So, but we both like it just as well, you know. And the salmon, it's got that good omega-3s. It's just really good for you. And then I also cooked some rice that's going to go with this. So yeah, I just serve rice on the side. And, so yeah, that's about it. That's how to do your own sashimi grade tuna and salmon. But yeah, look how pretty that is. Eee. But yeah, I'm super happy. And see, like, these are little more sashimi grade, and this is more like organic, going with the fish. So it just depends on what you like, you know. And of course, we got the beautiful, beautiful ahi tuna on this side, which I'll had it covered a little bit, so kind of uncover it. But yeah, looks super pretty. And so I hope you enjoyed this segment. And anyways, and so next we're gonna have the mukbang coming up. So Stay tuned for more. It's a Vern Bang. So anyways, before we go, if you got ginger, like ginger, we couldn't get it this time, but anyways, I got soy sauce, and got some nice Japanese wasabi, and so yeah, that's what we're going to use, and stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed the recipe video. Alright, stay tuned. You've been Recipe Bang.